Okay, story time. A lot of people think that I was born Christian, but I wasn't. And the way God found me is such a random childhood story, but it honestly changed my whole life. My mom grew up in a Christian family, but when she got married, she started following my dad's religion. And when my dad passed away, we moved to Assam. Everything was so simple there. We lived in a bamboo house, nature all around, nothing fancy at all. One day, me, my brother, and two of my friends, we bunked school like kids do, and we were just running around exploring, and we see this huge building. And now when I think about it, it wasn't that huge. It was a big, nice house. But I had never seen anything like that ever in my life. So it was literally like a palace to me. It had a big window, nuns were praying inside. I didn't know what any of that meant, but I was so curious. I wanted to know what's happening inside. So we were just standing there and watching them. I remember a few of the nuns coming out. They asked us our names and they were so sweet. They gave us the biggest hugs. They asked us to come back again the next day. And I was like, oh my God, finally we get to see what's inside the palace. I was so excited. So honestly, that's how my journey with Jesus started. I got baptized when I was 6 or 7 years old. And because I grew up without a father, Jesus naturally became that father figure for me. When I was sad, I would talk to him. When I was mad, I would argue with him. He was my everything. I think also a huge part of that was because of where I studied. I went to a convent school and I lived in a children's home. So I was always surrounded by nuns, by prayers, by kids whose whole life was around Jesus. And I guess that's another reason why at one point in my life I wanted to become a nun. But life had different plans. When I was 18, I was exposed to a completely different world. Modeling, acting, partying, new friends, relationship. And I didn't even realize when I slipped into a lifestyle that was nothing like the one I grew up with. It's not like I didn't believe in God. I still believed in God, but I wasn't walking with Him. I wasn't reading my Bible. I was praying, but it was more like routine. And for some reason, I was so ashamed of praying in front of people because I had no Christian friends. That's the excuse I give myself, but yeah. And when I started earning money, something inside me changed. I feel like I became this person who started taking credit for what God was doing for me. I swear, pride is so subtle. You don't even realize when it creeps in. And I was in this whole era of I am the shit. What main character energy? Main character energy. And people around me were living their life in a certain way. So everything seemed so normal and I stopped feeling convicted. And I truly believe when you keep feeding your flesh, your spirit becomes numb. And I guess I was spiritually dead for the longest time. But the cool part is God never left. For the last 2 years, little convictions started coming back. My first conviction was the kind of pictures that I used to post. I don't think wearing a bikini on a beach is wrong, but posting a bikini photos on social media wasn't coming from a healthy place for me. I genuinely thought I had nothing else to offer except how I looked. And I would post a certain kind of photos to get validation or to feel a certain way about myself. I don't fully know what exactly I was trying to do, but I know that my intention wasn't clean. And when that conviction settled in, I just knew that I didn't want it to be seen a certain way, or I didn't want my whole identity to be around my body or my appearance. So I just knew that I need to step back from posting a certain kind of photos. And then came the smaller conviction, like the one we usually don't even think about, like gossiping. We sit with our friends, we talk about random people, we make assumption, we judge them, and we think that it's harmless because we aren't saying it to their face. But the Bible is very clear about this. In Matthew 12:36, it says, everyone have to give an account on the day of judgment for every careless word that they have spoken. And gossiping is what? Careless words. We use words so carelessly to feel entertained. And there's one more conversation that I had with one of my very close friends, and that changed a lot. He said, imagine it's your last day and the last thing you did on earth was trash talk someone. And after that, honestly, every time anything comes in my head, I just stop myself and I pray and I ask God to help me, guide me, because I'm human. And of course, I will be tempted sometimes to say something about someone, but I don't want to be that person anymore. So I immediately just reject that and I pray. And it's so crazy that now when I sit with my friends, even the ones that aren't very religious, our conversation always turns to God. It's not like I force it, but it just naturally that happens. And we sit there, we thank God for every little things that He has done for us. And it just such a wholesome conversation we have every time. And I think that's what God does. He changes our hearts so much. Another conviction that really changed my life was about lust. Honestly, I never thought I would talk about this publicly, but I feel like our whole generation is so lost in this area. We often confuse physical affection with love, and we think giving our body away will fill that emptiness inside us, but it never does. I was miserable for the longest time, and I feel like when that purity conviction came in, I realized something very important. Just because God forgives me doesn't mean that I get to misuse His grace all the time. My body is my temple, and for the first time, I truly understood what that meant. If I keep treating my body casually, I cannot expect God's presence to feel real in my life. If I want God to dwell in my heart, I need to create that space for Him, which means I have to be more intentional about how I think, how I speak, what I do, everything. And I truly believe earlier I was living under God's mercy, and now I want to live with His presence in my life. And I want to have a heart where God stays, not a place where He visits just to clean up my shit all the time, you know. Last but not least, alcohol. Honestly, this wasn't the hardest thing for me to leave because I was never an alcoholic, and the reason I used to drink wasn't healthy. I used to touch alcohol because I used to think that I wasn't fun without it, or because of my social anxiety. But by God's grace, my anxiety disappeared, and I feel so much more confident without alcohol now. And yeah, that's it. I mean, that also made me realize how God can change you when you truly surrender something to Him. He's so amazing. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this. I know it was too long, but before I end this, I just want to say something to anyone who's trying to know God or trying to get close to Jesus or feeling lost in that whole process. I know it can feel lonely sometimes, and it can feel confusing, and it can feel very slow sometimes. But always remember, in Isaiah 41:10, God says, "Do not fear, I'm with you. I will strengthen you and help you." He is always with us. Even in the moment we feel like He's not, but He's always working in the background. He's always taking care of us, and He does what's best for us. I think a lot of time what we forget is that it's a mutual relationship. God is never going to force Himself onto your life. You need to take the baby step. You need to ask Lord to help you, guide you, to protect you. You need to ask Him. Then He's going to take the charge, and He will guide you and protect you and take care of you. I don't think you need to be perfect. You just need to be willing, and He's going to meet you wherever you are. That's it. Love you so much.